everybody. I'm back, and I'm in the saddle here in the basement, also known as the studio in the corner. And, I had a really nice weekend. Took off with the Lady Boomer for a few days. Had some stuff we had to do in Denver, and also got to go check out Breckenridge, where my son happened to be snowboarding at the time. So got to hang out with him a little bit this weekend. It was a fun weekend. And I kind of, a lot of times of the weekend, I spend so much time watching news and looking at my stupid Twitter feed and all this stuff that I just, I sometimes I don't do that. I lose track of what's happening. And so when I'm on the plane coming back last night, I was getting caught up and remembered that I'm in a crazy world. So we're gonna get into that, and the headline, or the name of the stream came from a headline that I saw from a Washington Post opinion piece, and we'll get into that right after the intro. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. It's the 19th of January. And in 24 hours and a few minutes, Joe Biden will be your president. Yay! So I've been looking at all the things that the news has been telling me that the new president will be doing on the first day in office, signing a shit ton of executive orders, so to speak, which, me being the great fan of executive orders, unless they're repealing an old executive order, I just can't stand it. But anyway, a lot going on in the news, obviously, with the events happening in Washington, with all the soldiers in town and the beautiful flag display, because they're not going to have any people there. This has become, what's the word? Kabuki theater, kind of. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at what's going on, and some of it is, some of it could be necessary, but I think this stupid event from this January 6th obviously put many of these wheels in motion, and some of those wheels are coming to roll right over people like me. So we'll get into that in a second, but let's say good morning to everybody. Yes, Tyler, who said I'm the first one who gets the bell? Well, I don't count myself when the first to chat. So Tyler F is the first person to the chat today, and who gets the bell? Good morning, my friend. Also, good morning, Fox P2. Biden has picked a transmission, I know what that's code for, as something, health something, repayment for keeping Pennsylvania destroyed by lockdowns. Yeah, I think I don't know what the Pennsylvania Health Commissioner, whatever, he appointed her to something. And so, yay, we get another label. First, this transgender something in the administration. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, also, good morning. Good morning, Humble Clay, who said to say what after he read the title. Well, you'll get to hear about that in a minute. Good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg. Hello, Mr. No. Good morning, Truck and Bear. Nice to see you around. I haven't seen you around for a while. Well, you're here in and out. I know sometimes it's just in the background. Also, good morning, Terai Deos. Nice to see you. Cindy Rochelle, hello. Green Badger Outdoors. Hi there. Bim Jim, what's up? And none of these anomalies favors Trump. Yeah, I know. Anyway, also Gunfox61, what's up, my friend? Good morning to your ridiculous lunatic. That is a name, not describing anything Gunfox would be doing. Things are getting heated. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Gunfox. They're vetting the troops in Washington are there to protect the inauguration, seeing if any of them are Trump supporters. Oh, no. And I got to tell you, yeah, they're worried about a lone wolf from within the military that might try to take out Biden. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, also good morning to Attack Alpaca. How you doing? Select a boy. Yeah, boy. Also Sapphire Dragon. How you doing? Advocatus Diaboli, the Devil's Advocates in the house. Good morning, Katie Did Skate. Dr. Kiev, Kiev is Kievan if you say it in Ukrainian. Also, good morning to Nicholas Daly. Hi there. That's a name you may have been here before, but I don't recognize it. By the way, if you're here and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, click the bell. You know how that works. Okay. Also, Jonas Pedersen, what's up? Reese Donald, how you doing? Let's see. Am I getting close to the bottom here? Sort of. Anna Lynn, what's up? Uncle Bad Touch. Oh, Joe Biden's in the chat. Oh, man. Nice to see you, Joe Biden, also known as Uncle Bad Touch. Good morning, John Arnott. Oh, shoot. You know what I didn't do? And I should have, and I'm sure that I'm going to get hell for this, but we'll still do that now. Let's see if I can do. Oh, shoot. Hang on a second here. Every time I do this. Thank you for the first donation of the day from this is Kyle. First, who says, why do you call it Kabuki Theater? Also, hello, chat, people, and P-Dog. Well, did I use that term right? Kabuki Theater? I don't know. But anyway, for momentarily, though, Kyle.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
However, that has ended already because we had also a donation from GunFox61. GunFox61.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Who says, Marty, remember Barack Obama said in 2014, we cannot rely on the military. We need a civilian national security force. We'll just watch Biden push for it. Oh my God. I got one article about that today kind of too. Just some of the bullshit they're starting to try to push. Let me finish. All right. Now, thank you very much, Kyle and GunFox61. Greatly appreciate the donations. Did I do that? Did I it didn't oh no, it didn't work. Well, okay, Gunfox, you are the superstar donor today right now, even though it doesn't say it up there. Let me finish up here. Anna Lynn, I said hi to, let's see, who's else? Uncle Bad Touch, Second Bear. John Arnott, thank you. Good morning for being here. And Mr. No Woodcut is in the house. And I think I got Rob Banks. Well, hello there. Hello there. Can someone 100% white be black? Well, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Oh my gosh, y'all are okay. I got to get caught up in these, but let me finish saying hello to people first. Rob Banks, another name I haven't seen, or at least I don't recognize, but you may have been here before, and I'm glad you're back if you are. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button. Also, good morning, People's Front of Canada, Sydney Bishop, Atheist Icon, Cynical Lindsay, TC Ball. I'm just gonna keep rolling because that thing is. I'm gonna have to catch up here. Space Force training. Did not see Space Force training. Okay, we'll get there. We will get there. All right, let me get caught up on the donation chats here real quick. Thank you, Javanus Mydaus. Javanus Mydaus. And I yes. Okay, good morning. Can we advertise for real products? Cindy and I were at the Florida RV Super Show last week. Every building had the sign, quote, sanitize with KOC 86. It was good to know somebody is keeping me safe by rubbing their KOC on everything. Sure, that could be a sponsor of the show. Ebony Williams, how you doing? I see you there. Good morning. Okay, so to answer that question, can you advertise for real products? Well, you're, by the way, you are
the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Now, thank you so much. And I'll scratch that over there. Can you advertise for real products? Well, you can, but the spirit of the make an ad for a product is to make a funny product thing. name, whatever. I'm just screwing up here. Anyway, KOC 86. I don't know about that. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, all right. So let's see here. Thank you, Selected Boy. I gotta get caught. Like, oh my gosh, it's just going crazy here. All right. So thank you, Selected Boy, with the $5 through YouTube Super Chat. Today on Days of Our Capital, troops searching high and low for Trump supporters or wrong thinkers. Isn't that the damn truth? It really is. This whole thing in the Capitol seems to be a soap opera. But thank you, Selected Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, thank you, Rod Line, and through Streamlabs. I pick 2x4 as my white multiplication. Oh, 2 times 4 is my white multiplication. Oh, they didn't mean multiply, did they? I don't know. The world's going crazy. And then thank you, Nicholas Daly, $5 to YouTube Super Chat. Learn about you from Lords of the Night, Hard Bastard, and the AAA. With why am I blanking all their names? I know it's Sinatra, the Pineapple, and the Ghost guy, but and all of a sudden, Drunken Uncle and Ghastly, who are the AAA guys. So you've heard me the AAA. Wow, they talked about me. That's good. I'm there every once in a while. So, all right, let's get into the show. You're really concerned for tomorrow, Ebony? Some of the nuttiness that's going supposedly to go on at the state capitals, I think I'm a little more concerned about that. I don't think thing was going to happen in Washington, D.C., but they are way, well, should I say overprepared? Or just they're highly, highly prepared, but it just seems like I think this was their perfect excuse for nobody showing up for the Biden inauguration. Because I don't think I really am seriously questioning, is there any, well, here, let me ask you in the chat, are you who are watching? Oh my God, wait a minute, did I see, okay, thank you, Cindy, for letting me in on the joke. Okay, let me go back to this super chat, the donation, asking if Cindy and I were about the Florida RV Super Show. I didn't read this correctly, so I said every building had the sign sanitized with KOC-86, which is some sort of sanitizing solution. And he said, it was good to know somebody is keeping me safe by rubbing their cock on everything. I didn't catch that. Cock 86, sanitized with cock 86. What the hell? Oh my gosh. Good morning, Jedi Ghost Bear. Also, okay. By the way, I got a new cup when I was in Colorado. The Papa Bear cup. Actually, Lady Boomer bought this for me. And we never skied once because, well, one, I have a knee injury and Lady Boomer doesn't ski. So, but you know what? There's a lot of other things interesting to do in Breckenridge, Colorado. And the ones we chose usually had something to do with drinking. We went to a distillery where we did a tasting of whiskeys. We went to a winery. We did a tasting of wines. We went to a brewery and did a brewery tasting. And then we found 2 really great bars that had made really good craft cocktails. All right, let's get back into the show. So the first thing that caught my eye as I dug out the phone and paid to have Wi-Fi in the plane and started reading was this article from the Washington Post. Yes, the Washington Compost. And of course, the all orange man bad all the time Washington Post. And this, it caught my eye just because I've been laughing about this for quite a long time. And it's almost like my fever dream came true. Oh, and by the way, Nicholas Daly, welcome. I am glad that you are here, by the way. I'm really glad. All right. So this thing, this is the title to, it's an opinion piece, but I don't care if it's an opinion piece. It's just hilarious to me. And we're going to go through it. To understand Trump's support, we must think in terms of multiracial whiteness. Now, me being at least fitting into the category that they like to call POCs, I found this a fascinating title. And so we're going to go through this because I think it's hilarious. Hello, Jesse Leanne. How you doing? And this is, okay, so, and this is by, obviously, or not surprisingly, I should say, I shouldn't say obviously, but not surprisingly, by an associate professor of social and cultural analysis at New York University. She's the author of the recent book called, quote, Cruelty as Citizenship, How Migrants Suffering Sustains White Democracy. Hello, Tony Subhanga. How you doing? I would be, if boy, I'll tell you what, they just, okay, anyway. Christina Beltran. The Trump administration's anti-immigration, anti-civil rights stance. Now, first of all, let's just stop there. Okay. Oh, what was I going to ask you guys? What was my question I was going to ask? I had a question for you. Oh, in the chat while I'm starting up this article. Is there anyone in the chat who knows somebody who is absolutely excited about not that Trump is no longer going to be president, but excited that Joe Biden is going to be the president? That's my question of the day. Do you know anybody who's actually excited about Joe Biden? And it can't be someone who's happy that Trump's gone. It has to be someone who's excited about Joe Biden. And I don't want to include Kamala Harris in there. I want to strictly talk about Joe Biden. Is there anyone you know who is excited about Joe Biden becoming the president? Also, thank you, GunFox61, with another $2 in the Streamlabs, who says, if you want a good wine vacation, the Wine Fest at Watkins Glen in June is a great one. Over 3,000 local wines there, just letting you know. Oh, that sounds really cool. No, Watkins Glen. Okay, I'm blanking out where in the chat, not in the don't do another donation, but Watkins Glen. I can't remember where that is. And I'm not. My wife would love a wine vacation like that. She would love to go to Napa or something like that and go around doing tastings. Me, I enjoy wine, but the distillery was actually a lot more interesting to me because I was in the bar business for a long time, and I love really good alcohol products. I mean, liquors, especially whiskeys. But this place did whiskeys, vodkas. They did gin. They even had a sort of a Scotch knockoff that was really good. I mean, we tasted a whole bunch of stuff, just tiny sips of it. But anyway, thank you again, GunFox61. Watkins Glen, New York. Thank you. Why did you just yawn while saying Joe Biden? I know I choked. That's probably what really happened. Good morning, Somnamblu Nation. Nope, I just no one I know and haven't even heard one being excited for Joe. Nope, I haven't either. I'm excited to buy new poor people's shit for some cheap. We'll laugh in their face. What happens when you get 95% blacks? Have to see any opinion then. Okay, those are all good questions. Avocados Diablo. I'm excited to see what happens when a dimension sufferer is in charge. I enjoy a good laugh. Okay. Biden is potato. Nope. Opinions differ throughout people. Yeah, isn't delivered. Oh, that's the truth. Okay. All right, let me get into this damn article because this is okay. First of all, Trump administration's anti-immigration. I don't think they're anti-immigration. I'm pretty sure anti-illegal immigration. Sorry, did I say that too loud? And anti-civil rights. Give me an example, Christina, of an anti-civil rights stance. I'm curious. I'm super curious what she means by that. But anyway, has made it easy to classify the president's loyalists as a homogenous mob of white nationalists. Really? Really? All 75 million? You would think of them as a homogenous mob of white nationalists. By the way, you know, when I talk about, I'm not against nationalism. I'm against ethno-nationalism. Nah, that's just stupid. But nationalism in the sense of, okay, let me take my weekend, for example. When Trump says, oh, good morning, Moonbase Radio, by the way. When Trump says, America first, you know what I immediately think of? I immediately think of when you're on a plane, right? When you're on an airplane, you get on an airplane, you're going to fly somewhere, and they have the little announcement beforehand talking about how you find this and find that and the floating device. And if there's loss of cabin pressure, these things will pop down and you put the mask. And I always think of America first as the same as an emergency in a plane. You take the oxygen mask and you make sure that you take care of yourself first to make sure that you are able to help other people, right? And so I get, you know, when they were doing the stimulus stuff, you know, they're fighting over that all summer, and, you know, Nancy Pelosi blocked it so Trump would get credit for people getting money and whatnot. And they were talking about, oh, well, in Pelosi's bill, they had this money for this over there and money for this there, and money for transgender studies in Pakistan and whatever, all this stuff. And then just little crumbs for the rest of us, right? Look, I'm never going to change my stance that I don't think the stimulus was a good idea. I'd rather you open up the businesses. But, you know, I always think of it as we can't help the rest of the world if we're not strong first. If our people aren't doing well first, the better our people do, the more you can help the rest of the world. So we need to take that oxygen mask and put it right over the country first and get ourselves at a position where we can help the person next to us or, you know, who's across the row. So that's my whole plan. Hello, Effin Mechi. How you doing? Effin Mechi. I know it's Effin Mechi. Mechi. Okay, you're going to laugh at me again. I know you are. You're going to laugh at me. All right, let's get back into this article because I'm going off on tangents left and right. By the way, let me check something real quick. Holy moly. Oh my gosh, we have 47 people in the house. Nice to see you all. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I just wanted to check that. Okay, back into this stupid article. All right, I can't get through the second sentence. Anyway, but so this person continues. Yeah, a homogenous mob of white nationalists. Yeah, not me. But that's what this article's about. The not me's. Here we go. But take a look at the FBI's poster showing people wanted in the insurrectionist assault. They can't get away from that word. They love the word insurrection and sedition. Oh my God. Hello, Rob Banks again. Agreed. Frank Boaz is horrible and answer white. But take a look at the FBI's poster showing people wanted the insurrectionists. Should I just do bell rings for all the buzzwords? At the U.S. Capitol. Among the many white faces are a few that are clearly Latino or African American. Such diversity highlights the fact that President Trump's share of the Latino vote in November actually rose over 2016, notwithstanding the years of incendiary rhetoric targeting Mexicans and other Latino communities. What? I thought he was targeting illegal immigrants, because you never notice he never said anything bad about Mexican Americans or Latinos from America, did he? Did he? Anyone got an example of that? Does anybody have an example of where the president was saying incendiary rhetoric targeting Mexicans and other Latino communities, like that Americans, like not Americans who have Mexican or Latino descent. Never did. Just the illegal people come across the border. But I digress. Yes, Trump voters and his mob are disproportionately white. But one of the more unsettling exit poll data points of the 2020 election was that a quarter to a third of Latino voters voted to re-elect Trump. And while the vast majority of Latinos and an overwhelming majority of African American supporters supported the Biden-Harris ticket and were crucial to its success. Oh, sort of. Hello, Gareth Colaquen, Juan, GB, US. Hello, P-Dog. How's tricks? Hope you're in a fine fettle. Yes, I don't know what a fine fettle is, but it sounds pretty good, and I'm there. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm sorry. I just can't help it today. I'm a little distracted because when you come off of even if it's not really a vacation, it felt like a vacation, even though we're only gone 3 days. I just get a little antsy still. But anyway. And while the vast majority of Latino and overwhelming majority of African American voters supported the Biden-Harris ticket and were crucial to its success, I disagree. I think white men were crucial to the success because Trump improved in every demographic except for white men. I got to get that video out by tomorrow too. Shit, I got some editing to do. All right. Many black and brown voters have family and friends who fervently back the MAGA policy agenda, including its delusions and conspiracy theories. What? By the way, it's funny how she says many black and brown voters have family and friends who fervently back the MAGA policy agenda. Couldn't she have just said many black and brown voters fervently backed the MAGA policy agenda, including its delusions and conspiracy theories? Yeah, I'm not sure what she means. One of the we'll continue. One of the organizers of the Stop the Steal movement is Ali Alexander, a Trump supporter who identifies as black and Arab. Does he now? Does Ali now? That's funny because I've never heard Ali talk about his Arab heritage, although maybe. But I've always heard him identify himself as a black man, but not in the fact that that's the most important thing about him. But it's funny who she says who identifies as black and Arab, because Ali's black. I mean, he's almost like literally black. He's this very dark-skinned African-American man. And by the way, he should, if you know who I'm talking about, Ali, if they ever did a Sammy Davis Jr. biopic, Ali needs to play Sammy Davis Jr. Someone said that the other day on Twitter. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's so true. That is so true. Anyway, and then, the chairman of the, get the bell ready, neo-fascist Proud Boys. What's funny about that too, these people have no idea what they're talking about when they talk about the Proud Boys. They're not neo-fascists either. It's like the Proud Boys basically came together basically just as the anti-Antifa group, and they are basically a drinking club, and they're not fascist, but whatever, I don't care. The chairman of the neo-fascist Proud Boys is Enrique Tarrio, a Latino raised in Miami's Little Havana who identifies as Afro-Cuban. No, he is Afro-Cuban, biatch.
Gotcha, bitch.
When he arrived in Washington for the January 6th march, he was arrested for allegedly burning a Black Lives Matter banner taken from a black church the month before. It wasn't taken from a black church, but it was taken from a church. Anyway, What are we to make of Tario and, more broadly, of Latino voters inspired by Trump? Well, they have their own minds and can make their own choices. And what are we to make of the unmistakably white mob violence that also includes non-white participants? I call this phenomenon, and here's the words, multiracial whiteness. The promise that they too can lay claim to the politics of aggression, exclusion, and domination. I don't know why I yelled that, but okay. Or maybe, and this is my own personal opinion, just maybe the politics of jobs, success, and taking care of your own before you take care of, being able to take care of your own so that you can later are able to take care of others. But that's just my interpretation of it all. Continuing, before Trump, conservatives seeking to appeal to Latinos typically embrace the politics of conservative multiculturalism. Couldn't get that out. Multiculturalism. Hello, Sapphire Dragon. How you doing? Politicians such as George W. Bush reached out to Latino voters by showing a familiarity with their language and history, emphasizing the values of diversity and inclusion. Depicting Latinos as a distinct and valuable part of America's democratic mosaic, conservative multiculturalism connected Latino culture to Republican values, emphasizing conservative approaches to faith, patriotism, and the traditional family. Aw, sweet. You know what's funny about that, though? I think part of the reason that a larger number of Latinos voted for Trump is for the same reasons, except not the diversity and inclusion part, because they don't give a fuck. They just want to be able to live their lives, be able to run their businesses, be able to, have a better life. And they're pretty distinctly anti-socialist. And the Democratic Party has this wing of the party that hasn't quite completely taken over yet, but they're the loudest voices of the party who are pretty much socialists. And maybe that's why Latinos are very wary, especially since they often come from places like Cuba and Venezuela and other countries in Central and South America that have had their own issues with socialism. And they don't want anything to do with it. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Trump, but now she continues. Trump, by contrast, knows nothing of the history. He knows nothing of the history of Latinos in the United States, and rarely even pretends to find value in Latinos' distinct identities. Well, guess what? If I need a plumber, I don't give a flying fucking rolling donut about your identity. I just want to know if you can fix the damn pipe. And he doesn't. That's just it. Even though, it did drive me nuts, though. I gotta admit, when you're watching Trump rallies and they had all the identity politics signs up, that always sat wrong with me. Blacks for Trump, women for Trump, Latinos for Trump, left-handed gay hedgehogs for Trump. I wish they'd got rid of that, but I understand what they're trying to do, showing that, hey, there's people like this who support Trump also, not just white people. Rather than offering his non-white voters recognition, Trump has offered them, here it comes again, multiracial whiteness. Rooted. Now, here she goes on to explain multiracial whiteness. Rooted in America's ugly history of white supremacy, indigenous dispossession, and anti-blackness, multiracial whiteness is an ideology invested in the unequal distribution of land. Wait a minute. Is that what you white people are doing? You are trying, you're ideologically invested in the unequal distribution of land? Is that what that, I always wondered what you white people do. Those of you who are white, not everyone in my audience is white. But I'm sorry, unequal. Okay, so multiracial whiteness is an ideology invested in the unequal distribution of land, wealth, power, and privilege. Oh, a form of hierarchy in which the standing of one section of the population is premised on the debasement of others. You know, I said this the other day. I don't think, okay, this is strictly a question for the white people in the audience, which I know that's most of you, but it's not all of you, because, there's some brothers and sisters who watch this. But let me ask you something. Form of hierarchy in which the standing of one section of the population is premised on the debasement of others. Do you spend a lot of your time, to my white friends here, do you spend a lot of your time thinking about other populations and how you can debase them, or how I premised on the debasement of others? Multiracial whiteness reflects an understanding of whiteness as a political color. No. Okay, this is okay. And not simply a racial identity. A discriminatory worldview in which feelings of freedom and belongings are produced through the persecution and dehumanization of others. I don't think anyone spends that much time about thinking, or spends that much time thinking. My audience is disproportionate. I get that. Anyway, I'm a white person. Okay. I don't think I just live my life. I don't think about that the white people next door, or feeling. Listen to this again. A discriminatory worldview in which feelings of freedom and belonging are produced through the persecution and dehumanization of others. Okay, I need to make a list, y'all. Please, tell me. Who have you persecuted today? I'm sure like I said, someone in there said, yes, my audience is disproportionately white. Okay, white people, who have you persecuted today? Who have you thought it was important that you take some time out of your day so that you can dehumanize them? Just think. Green Badger Outdoors, how you doing? I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. I did see you earlier and I forgot to say hi. And also Hig 1966, welcome. And Azu Azra 13. All your lands belong to us. Yes, they are. Continues multiracial whiteness. Now listen to this. This is why Latino voters voted for Trump. This is getting better, isn't it? Multiracial whiteness promises Latino Trump supporters freedom from the politics of diversity and recognition. Does it? I don't know what that means. Anyway, for voters who see the very act of acknowledging one's racial identity as itself racist, the politics of multiracial whiteness reinforces their desired approach to colorblind individualism. In the politics of multiracial whiteness, anyone can join the MAGA movement and engage in the wild freedom of unbridled rage and conspiracy theories. You know what? Sorry. Here we go again with this talking about rage. Another question to talk about in the chat. Who is perpetually more mad? Just mad, pissed off about shit. Who is perpetually more mad? the right, or MAGA crowd, or the left. If you put a giant group of MAGA people in Shea Stadium, and then you put a giant group of Democrats, leftists, whatever, in, let's say, the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which would be more of a party? Which would be more of happy people? Which would be people having fun and enjoying being around other people and whatnot? And which would turn into a bitch fest? I'm sorry. A MAGA movement to engage in the wild freedom of unbridled rage. Unbridled rage of what? And conspiracy theories. No! Of people who like to keep their own money, like to be able to build business, like to have a lot of regulation, people who believe that maybe some of the other countries should start take care of their own shit and we can start taking care of ours so we can, again, America needs the oxygen mask because the plane has lost cabin pressure and could go down at any moment. I think we start needing to use that mask on us before we start helping everybody else. Is that a good analogy? Tell me, put a 1 in the chat if you like that analogy. I think it's brilliant personally, but I'm me, so of course I think it's brilliant. Multiracial whiteness offers citizens of every background the freedom to call Muslims terrorists. Oh my God! There's some Muslim Trump supporters out there. Did you know that? What's her name again? Christina. Good Lord, I forgot it there. That needs a bell. Demand that undocumented immigrants be rounded up and deported. Okay, and is that unusual in other countries? I'll give you one guess. Deride Black Lives Matter as a movement of thugs and criminals. Well, again, is this what these people believe, that this is what MAGA or Donald Trump's supporters are? This is what they think about. I gotta, maybe deride the BLM movement as the leaders of the BLM movement as the most prolific grievance grifters in the country, and the idea behind BLM as maybe a legitimate one as far as just, because everyone should matter. And the results of the Black Lives Matter movement are ash. Not ass, but ash. Oh, and accuse Democrats of being blood-drinking pedophiles. Okay, yeah. So she obviously looks at this as a very limited. She looks at this very limited. Does she think that's why more Latinos and blacks voted for Trump? Or could it just have been the economy, stupid? The economy was pretty damn good before the COVID thing. And then Latinos and the people who voted for Trump don't blame the COVID nonsense on Trump. There's still, that's a big topic. And I keep looking at the Worldometer, and we still, per capita, yes, there's a lot of people who died from this. It sucks. And it wasn't fun having COVID, by the way. But we're still pretty much in line with every place else in the world that has it. But boy, they love milking that cow, right? Okay, she continued. Here, meaning the MAGA supporters, so to speak, or the Trump supporters, here, this is just, if this is not incendiary, I just need a sip of my, by the way, everyone grab the glass if you have one, take a sip. We'll do the simultaneous sip right now. Here, the politics of exclusion, violence, and demonization are available to all. Gee, I wonder what all those demonstrations and burning buildings and murdered people and police officers and burning cars and destruction of property. What was that all summer? Because I don't think those were Trump people for the most part. Probably not at all. Anyway, if you want to speak Spanish and celebrate a quinceañera in your family, go ahead. Oh, well, at least they acknowledge that do your thing whatever your thing is. If you want to be a proud boy, be a proud boy. Trump doesn't care. As long as you love him, he'll love you. Well, he is loyal to people who are loyal to him. America's racial divide is not simply between whites and non-whites. Thinking in terms of multiracial whiteness helps us recognize that much of today's political rift is a division between those who are drawn to and remain invested in the politics of whiteness and those who seek something better. I keep going on sides, but they describe, remember when Black Lives Matter put out their manifesto, and they were talking about properties of whiteness as being on time, being this, working hard, blah, 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 blah. And they got in trouble because a lot of people who are black who do those things that are successful said, wait a minute, those aren't white traits. Those are just traits of successful people. And there's a lot of successful people out there, people of color, who are quite successful in the world. And it's like, don't. So you're saying that all those, well, anyway, you know what I'm saying. We witnessed this very divide in Georgia when a significant segment of white voters broke with Georgia's white majority, joining a multiracial coalition that sent Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff to the U.S. Senate. No, they just, oh my God, following the leadership of black women. Oh, thank you, black women, whose organizing made that electoral victory possible. Yeah, no, Democrats out-organized Republicans, and they did a little, I'm not going to say it, I get in trouble. I know they did some ballot harvesting and some dead people voting and shit. But anyway, all right. This is the hopeful side. I get it. So, okay, listen to this. Let me finish this. This is the hopeful side of the shifting and diverging politics of whiteness. In the post-Trump era, the challenge will be to prevail over the extremism of Trump's white majority, while trying to prevent the politics of whiteness from becoming an increasingly multiracial affair. Look. Kyra, how you doing, my friend? If we have jobs and factories, we think about race a lot less. Yes, exactly. Again, I'd say, that's what the America First thing meant. Not some slogan that supposedly was used in the early 30s in that country with the guy with the funny mustache, because that's what they try to accuse you of when you say that. No, it just means putting your own oxygen mask on first. That's all it means. Doesn't mean you don't want to help the person next to you once you know that you're safe and secure. And right now, we're not all that safe and secure. At least in my opinion, I don't think we are. I think we could be far more safe and secure. And so there you go. All right. So that now that you know the meaning of my title of the day, what say you? Anyway, it says some business owners, African persuasion, defending their businesses from rioters, totally supported. However, ADOS have been controlled by the left for too long. There is an interest. Okay, ADOS, for someone who doesn't know, I'm just reading Nicholas's thing here. ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves. I hate to say we, but when I say we as African Americans, I just think that we bitch about not wanting to be compared with the Africans who come from Africa over here and are successful, but are the reason that Africans and Asians and Indians and other people who come here are successful. Not necessarily they come here with a lot of money. Some do, some don't. A lot of immigrants are dirt poor when they come here and work their way into whatever they need to do to become successful. But the mindset is, this is America, where you can do anything. That you're not set in your certain caste, or you're not set in the economic situation of your parents, or you're not stuck in that say if your dad works in the factory, then you work in the factory, or if your dad was a computer engineer, you have to be a computer engineer. Some people, your dad was a doctor, but you may want to work with your hands. And in America, that's okay. You go to where you think you can be the most successful and most happy, and you go to there. Now, does everybody take advantage of that? Well, the problem is everyone, rather than talking about slavery, which ended over 100 whatever X number of years ago, 170 years ago, 160, I don't even know how long ago it was. Or even, look, I was born at the end of the Jim Crow laws, and I didn't grow up with any of that stuff. Now, is it dramatic? You would think that coming from the hands of oppression, and remember, not everyone lived where those laws existed, but it hasn't been easy for African Americans in this country. And yet, so many have found a way to be successful. And I would rather talk about those who are successful instead of those who are supposedly have their boot on our neck or our knee on the neck, because that knee on the neck thing, that's a dog bites man story. I bet you find 1,000 stories of successful African Americans that they've never dealt with that, And granted, it's not perfect. There are definitely issues that affect us, but none that can't be overcome. And unfortunately, I wish we had an immigrant mindset. Hey. And some do. There are, boy, I tell you what, there's some rich ass black people out there that had that mindset, had that hustle mentality, had that, you know what, if I keep doing this and keep investing in that and keep working on this and get better at that, man, I just think of the guy that when I was growing up, and this is, I'm born in 1964, I'm a 70s, 80s kid. And, though my parents moved to basically it was a suburb, but it wasn't. It was an unincorporated area just outside of town. And my parents, wanted to build a house, and redlining was actually happening back then, or at least the realtors wouldn't even talk to my parents. So my parents said, okay, there's a group of us. We all want to move, out farther out, and had the same problems. So they said, okay, let's make up this neighborhood. And they found this unincorporated area immediately adjacent to the western portion of our town, and built a house there. And I basically, you could call it a suburb, even though now it's almost in the middle of Omaha now. And but every one of those people who lived in that neighborhood were successful black people. Like at least the nine black families that started the neighborhood. Now the neighborhood that grew around them was still a bunch of white people moving in, but it was one of the rare multiracial neighborhoods in 1969 in Omaha. But so I grew up mostly around white kids and white people, right? So I'm like, they were never a mystery to me. You all were never a mystery to me. But the person who I looked up to, besides my parents and my grandmother, who were teachers and a professor, then worked at Creighton University, was our veterinarian. Now we still went to church at a black church down in the hood, And we still, our veterinarian was this black man who had an office right in the middle of town. The most successful veterinarian in town. And built a house in this the Regency area, which when he built his house in Regency, they didn't want any black people in Regency, so he built his house on the edge of Regency, made entirely of stone so they wouldn't burn it down. That's my dad's joke. And but he just, you know what? He went and he had a huge clientele, one of the most prominent veterinarians in town. And black man. Just because that's what he wanted to do. He said, I'm going to build this business. I remember talking to him when I was in high school. I used to mow their lawn when I was in high school. And just said, you know what? Whatever you're going to do, do. If you like doing this, doing that, don't let it, no one's going to hold you back. If you really want to do something, no one can hold you back. And I was like, okay, cool. Fantastic. My backstory for days. I do. You know what? I should one of these days. I keep saying this. The article of my parents building their home. A guy wrote in one of the papers in Omaha a while back. I should bring that story because it's a really good story. Good morning, Rittenhouse unit. What's up? All right. Anyway, so this multiracial whiteness. I guess I'm a part of multiracial whiteness, although still. Someone mentioned the ADL earlier. I'm gonna. Thomas Cleaver, how you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. Someone brought up the ADL. I just happen to have an interesting article from the ADL. You may have seen this, you may not. This is frightening to me though, because there's a concerted effort amongst many different sources. And they're using the 6th of January as an excuse to suppress, suppress conservative thought. For example, you probably saw some stuff this weekend from CNN and stuff. But this one's interesting too, from the ADL. It's the Anti-Defamation League, who is, I consider, one of the largest grievance grifting organizations in the country. They now started out as a group that was fighting anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, things like that. But they've kind of gotten away from the anti-Zionism because they've kind of an extremely left organization. But it's one of these organizations that if racism is solved, then they can't raise money anymore. They raise money off of racism. But this is an interesting article from the ADL. Doxing should be illegal. Reporting extremists should not. Interesting. We live more and more in digital spaces, so we have to work harder to distinguish protected online speech from unprotected online contact. I wonder if you do unprotected online conduct on. Never mind. I'm just gonna take a drink before I even finish that thought. In the wake of the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, an attack that was planned, mobilized, and live streamed online. This work has gained an even greater sense of urgency, especially when it comes to doxing. Yeah, planned, mobilized, and live streamed on Facebook and Twitter. I was laughing because I was talking to someone about that Parler yesterday and how, they banned Parler, and they're saying, well, yeah, because all those people who organized all that stuff on Parler. I said, really? And I asked them, and here's, maybe you know the answer to this question. How many people that they have arrested for all the mayhem in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. How many? There's a number that you may or may not know. How many of those people? I think 130 have been arrested so far, and there's still got a bunch they want to arrest. How many of them had an account on Parler? Do 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 do. Boom, boom. Zero. Not a single person that they have arrested nor that they are looking for has a Parler account. Gunfox61, you get the bell for having the right answer. City Rochelle, yes. Advent negative 12. You are all less than 100. Nope, it is zero. Zero, big fat zero, not one. And part of the reason Amazon is having their fight with Parler and dropping Parler was because of the danger of of violence, blah, 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 blah. And blaming it on Parler. And Parler had not a single person that was not spread on Parler. Anyway, ADL continues. Many people define doxing as posting someone's personal information online, but doxing as a blanket term threatens to ignore the crucial difference between criminal doxing on one hand and on the other hand, lawfully identifying people online where the purpose may be to protect others, track down extremists, or report a public interest story. This is why the ADL and State Senator Adam Moorfield working together to introduce legislation to outlaw criminal doxing in Nebraska. It is time to protect targets of this behavior better while upholding constitutional speech rights. What the hell does that mean? Criminal doxing is when someone posts another person's personal information and, in doing so, meets specific standards of intent that go to whether the disclosure will lead to criminal conduct, such as death, injury, or stalking. For example, when Andrew Anglin, they go all the way back to Andrew Anglin. When Andrew Anglin, publisher of neo-Nazi website The Daily Stormer and one of the organizers of the 2017 white supremacist rallies in Charlottesville, posts the name and address of Tanya Gersh, a Jewish real estate agent in Montana, and photos of her children. His purpose was to incite his readers to stalk and terrorize her, and his followers understood that all too well, responding with hundreds of threatening calls and anti-Semitic messages. I got one word for Andrew Anglin in that act. FTG. Absolutely right. That's bullshit. But that's not the only doxing that goes on the internet. In fact, some people get doxed when they are even mistaken for somebody someone they don't like, and then they get harassed and everything. But anyway, we asked Ms. Gersh about the abuse directed order. You know what? I get it. I'm gonna skip this because we know. And then Mr. Anglin's lawyer tried to argue that he could not be held legally accountable because his posts were protected under the First Amendment. But because a judge found that he intended to cause Gersh egregious harm, his motion dismissed. Okay, good. Fuck that guy. I don't care about Andrew Anglin. But so they go into this whole thing about why this was, this is an egregious attempt to hurt somebody. I see this every day. Let's finish though. Let's skip that. So we're done with that. We know that was messed up, and that guy, fuck him. Now, here they continue down here. It is essential to dispel confusion around the conduct that an anti-doxing statute targets and differentiates it from lawful activity that would not give rise to liability. For example, unlawful doxing is different from the work that activists and researchers, including those at ADL, are now engaging in to identify extremists and help law enforcement agencies investigate the rioters who violently stormed the Capitol. Okay, yeah, if you're doing a specific act that to identify people, but here's the problem. How about we just let the ADL shut the fuck up and let law enforcement do it? How about doing that? Because, you have an issue with identifying the wrong people sometimes. And guess what? Who comes after those people? Not always law enforcement, is it? Anyway, the same goes, these activists and researchers are not operating in a criminal mental state. Well, yeah, we get it. You're trying to help identify people who broke the law, that you can physically see break the law, not just because they support the wrong political candidate. The same goes for journalists who break important stories. Oh, like Oliver Darcy, that dickbag. People who take on powerful institutions and interests by disclosing information, for example, about the source of political donations. Yeah, that's, the purpose of them doing that, a lot of them, is to get people to, dogpile on people. And people who report abuses of power or otherwise act as whistleblowers. Okay, legit. To the extent that these people are publishing information to share facts, really? Go get them, Twitter. You ever hear that phrase? And not acting with the level of intent that the information posted will be used to carry out criminal conduct such as death, injury, or stalking, the Nebraska anti-doxing law would not apply, and that's how it should be. Yeah, there's still a lot of gray area there. People are concerned about the legal overreach of doxing bills and protecting free speech values both on and offline rightfully raise serious and legitimate questions when it comes to codifying anti-doxing legislation. We know that marginalized communities are disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system. Okay, disproportionately in what ways? That means nothing. Oh, we feel we're disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system based on just raw numbers and percentages, based on demographics? Or do we leave out some of the other parts that may have an effect? Just curious. Criminal statutes, even those passed with good intentions, have been misused and weaponized against these communities in the past. But we also know these individuals are the same people being harassed and terrorized online based on race, religion, sexual orientation, and other identifying characteristics, forced out of digital spaces, silenced and harmed, and left without recourse. Really? I guess I would need to see some actual data and research on that, but I digress. Nebraska's anti-doxing law has been drafted with these distinctions and needs carefully in mind. Oh, so maybe, okay. Does that have anything to do with multiracial whiteness? I don't know. The problem is far bigger than many of us realize. Recently, ADL found that 35%, wait a minute, okay, listen to this sentence, because someone's going to read this wrong. The problem is that recently ADL found that 35% of Americans who are harassed online attribute that harassment to racial, religious, or sexual identity. Okay, note they say 35% of Americans who are, not 35% of Americans are. So of the people who are harassed online or report being harassed online, attribute the harassment to racial, religious, or sexual identity, 35% of those people say it's due to those things. Okay? For millions of people, online abuse is an everyday reality that disrupts their ability to work, go to school, socialize, or express their faith. I don't know. I guess I need to find that out. Anyway, but you know what? Again, remember, this is the ADL. They are one of the most prolific grievance grifting organizations in the world. ADL has long been a strong oh my God. The ADL has been a strong advocate for First Amendment rights. But, okay, now we can disregard everything before the word but. The ADL has been a strong advocate for First Amendment rights, but it is also a fervent advocate for targets of hate and identity-based harassment. An important part of ADL's work is to combat extremists and hate groups is to identify and monitor individuals who promote dangerous ideologies through our Center on Extremism. At the same time, ADL Center of Tech. Okay, let's just finish this. Anyway, we want to protect. Okay, so they finish off down here. ADLs work closely with Senator Moorfield and other lawmakers to walk a fine line. Yeah, that's a fine line, all right. We want to protect individuals who are doxxed while protecting individuals who identify bad actors. So they want to protect people who are doxxed, but then be doxers themselves. Who gets to be the doxer? Now, it's funny because the tweet that came along with this, I think they worded it pretty poorly, but I'm not going to go find that because oh my gosh, I'm behind today, aren't I? Anyway, okay, let's keep it going here. Oh, interesting. So Judaism is a religion, not a race, hence why Israel shouldn't exist. Well, I don't care if I don't know if Israel shouldn't exist. That's an interesting thought. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that discussion right now. That's a long construction. Oh my gosh! Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
You're here. I didn't even see you come in. How you doing, my man? All right. People need to realize people have flawed perceptions of actually what we call reality. Using some sort of baseline will never get you anything but chaos. Oh, interesting. All right. Let's see here. All right, let's I've got so much today and I'm really far behind. Okay, I'll tell you what's good. I'm going to tell you what's in the tabs because I am running out of time. I have several articles up here. One is from the Washington Examiner, the corporate takeover. This is the one thing that I was been worried about because remember I was talking about fascism the other day and how the idea that we have politicians and prominent public figures who think that having corporations decide who gets to speak on these giant communication platforms, you know, having someone named Jack or whatever Data, why can't I think of Data's name? Having them decide who should be able to speak on these giant communication platforms. That is the epitome of fascism. And the people who complain about, oh, these fascists, there's Trump fascists, this fascist, you're fascist, you know, neo-fascist. And then they celebrate the fact that some pinhead at a giant techno-oligarchic corporation can decide whether or not you can speak loudly through their giant, almost monopolistic communication tools. And so this article in the Examiner is talking about, the corporate takeover. Was Twitter right to delete Donald Trump's account? Was Simon & Schuster right to... Oh, I put this on the screen. Was Simon & Schuster right to drop Josh Hawley's books? These are open debates that could hide the more pressing questions. Who's next? And why is this happening? Will the next targets of the great deplatforming of 2021 be Republican congressmen or pro-Trump radio and television hosts? Or will they be gun owners, pro-lifers, critics of radical gender ideology, and opponents of gay marriage? Oh, I would add in anyone who's anti-war during the Biden administration, because they'll start at least 5 wars if they go by the average of the last 6 presidents. Hypnagogic Monk, hello. Looking for help spread at the White House petition fighting HR 25. I got to look that one up. Okay. While we don't know the answers, there are some safe bets. It won't simply be publishers and platforms that decline to bake the proverbial MAGA cake. It won't stop at web servers pulling the plug on social media sites rife with violent threats. And on the why question, we can also have some certainty. The great deplatforming isn't simply about liberal Silicon Valley executives pushing their ideology or caving to their radical young employees. It is a lobbying strategy. Big business will kick certain voices and ideas overboard in order to win favor with a Democratic Congress and administration, as corporate executives and their lobbyists seek friendly regulations, new subsidies, and bountiful contracts. Yes, the big giant techno-oligarchs love them some government contracts. One needn't believe that Trump's Twitter, Hawley's book, or social media site Parler was wrongly canceled to worry what's next. Also, a conservative or libertarian can agree that private companies have the right to restrict content on their platforms while still condemning the censoriousness and bias of the platforms and worrying about the implications. And we know more censorship is coming because leading voices on the left talk about conservative views as not merely wrong, but positively dangerous. Pro-lifers are obviously a target when pro-life activist Lila Rose posted on Twitter January 7th that, quote, abortion is violence, end quote. Leah Torres, who runs an abortion business in Alabama, saw an opportunity. It was the day after the Capitol riots, and Trump was taking heat from all sides for his incendiary rhetoric, as in go peacefully protest, and actions, and deplatforming was gaining steam. This is violent rhetoric, the abortionist wrote on Twitter. This is objectively false and meant to incite others to commit crimes against clinics, patients, and healthcare providers. This is what domestic terrorism looks like. Bitch, please. Dr. Torres was explicitly branding Rose's tweet as unprotected by the First Amendment, deserving of criminal prosecution, or at the very least, a ban from Twitter. This is the standard way the abortion lobby treats pro-life positions as, quote, false and dangerous. This view goes almost all the way to the top. Pro-lifers are nearly criminal in the eyes of Kamala Harris. If she gets her way, the Biden-Harris Justice Department will keep a leash on states that pass laws to protect the unborn or regulate abortionists, modeling her proposal after civil rights. That is, she believes pro-life positions are on par with segregation. Given that view of pro-lifers, is there any doubt Democratic leadership believes pro-life groups should be barred or throttled? And I don't care your position on abortion at all. As far as that prior paragraph, I mean, I generally support the right to choose, but that paragraph speaks volumes to me. Nowhere is the left's appetite for censorship clearer than the sexual revolution. When someone argues against chemical or surgical interventions to transition a boy experiencing gender dysphoria into a girl or vice versa, that person is branded as bigoted. But it doesn't stop with name-calling, asserting that stigma against transgender people causes suicide and hate crimes. Wait a minute. I thought they committed suicide either way. Anyway, and such unwoke opinions are blasted as unsafe speech that cost lives. Activists, for instance, tried to deplatform what became the year's biggest book on gender, Abigail Schreier's Irreversible Damage, the transgender craze seducing our daughters. And they had success with many big companies. Schreier's first publisher dropped her. Amazon refused to allow her second publisher to advertise the book on its website. Transgender activists briefly convinced Target to stop carrying the book. An ACLU official endorsed stopping the circulation of this book. Oh, the American Civil Liberties Union. Oh my gosh. I thought they were about free speech. Oh, no, they're not. You know they're not. The ACLU endorsed stopping the circulation of the book, which he called a dangerous polemic with a goal of making people not trans. Really? Don't think so. Just the whole the trend is not natural. And so, you know, if you're actual trans person with gender dysphoria, yeah, but not every little kid who thinks they're a boy or girl in second grade and then decide the next week that they're not. Let's stop playing that game. How about there? How about that? What do you think about that? A typical review on Amazon reads, statistics show that 51% of transgender male teens attempt suicide, and things like this book are the reason why. Really? Because that was the case long before the book. Anyway, again, some opinions are not just wrong, but actively dangerous. Recall how New York Times staffers reacted to Tom Cotton's op-ed over the summer, bizarrely claiming that the op-ed endangered the lives of fellow employees. It goes beyond platforms, though. These days, simply buying something from a willing seller often requires the approval of some major corporation, and some payment processors are refusing to take part in legal sales they don't approve of. Square and PayPal, two large payment processors, refuse to process gun purchases. There's a lobby for banks and bigger credit card processors to follow suit. Visa argues New York Times columnist Andrew Ross Sorkin ought to change its terms of service to say they won't do business with retailers that sell assault weapons. Really? I'm sorry. Should that credit card company have a domain on what I purchase and don't purchase? Fuck off. If MasterCard were to do the same, Sorkin writes, assault weapons would be eliminated from virtually every firearm store in America because otherwise the sellers would be cut off from the credit card system. I'll just pay cash, motherfucker. If that's the case, I'll just go to the ATM. Anyway, because otherwise sellers would be cut off from the credit card system. Oh, yeah, okay. They're talking about cutting off the entire business if they sell a legal product. Anyway, I'll let you read the rest of the story on your own because it's kind of long, but it's all what I'm talking about. This is social engineering through corporate fascism on the advice of certain politicians or influencers or prominent people in society. It's getting nuts. Moving on. This one, you can read this one on your own, but there's the incitement timeline. So they are impeaching the president of the United States, saying that he was inciting insurrection, which from a legal standpoint, again, it's a case that would be just it would be thrown out of court so fast. It's a joke. The bar for incitement is very high. It has to be very explicit. And the fact that part of this timeline that I will bring up to you is that, let's see. Well, first of all, they're talking about how the security wasn't handled correctly. The House and Senate Sergeant Arms weren't prepared. The Capitol Police weren't prepared for this thing. But the one part that the timeline is what is fascinating here. Hello, Michael Hatfield. How you doing? And you have a great day. The timeline is the one I wanted to bring out about this one. And while the Washington Post clumsily attempts to blame President Trump for the violence, despite President calling for peaceful, and that's a quote, protest, and the cheering on of congressmen that they like, their own article admits the first wave of protesters arrived at the Capitol about 12:40 p.m. President Trump's speech didn't conclude until 1:11. So the protesters got there before President Trump's speech was over, and the breach of the building was before President Trump's speech was over. President's speech didn't conclude until 1:11 p.m., and with at least a 45-minute walk between the two locations with crowd-related delays, that would put the first people from Trump's speech at Capitol Hill no earlier than 1:56 p.m., a full hour and 16 minutes after the troublemakers arrived. In fact, rioters who breached the perimeter would have had to leave before Trump's speech even began at 12 p.m. precisely to make it in time for the events that they are detailed by authorities. And then they said that the Washington Post also states Sun's outer perimeter on the Capitol's west side was breached within 15 minutes, meaning that the Capitol was breached over an hour before Trump's speech attendees could have even begun to arrive. So you can read this on your own, but there's a whole bunch of things about how this was the parts that the breach was planned. There's also issues with how, the first people who breached the building, they knew what they were doing, but other people who were in the building may not even known that it was broken into because they were walking in like it was a tour. They're standing between the velvet ropes, looking at all the art and walking around. Some people probably didn't even know they weren't supposed to be in there. But anyway, good article, though, in the Washington Examiner, and I'll leave that in the tabs. A couple things I wanted to bring to your attention was this idiot. Let me see here. So this is guests cheering on censorship this morning on CNN. This guy used to be one of the, I can't remember if he worked for Facebook. He worked for one of the big social media companies. Anyway.
Now we're talking about domestic audience in the United States.
Listen to this shit.
The challenge is going to be partially that, ISIS did not have a domestic constituency in the United States Congress.
Let's just stop for a second. Notice who he compared. Did you just hear who he compared that Capitol shenanigans to? Did you hear that? ISIS. Oh, I got it. There's a video. I saw it on Monkey in the Morning that I won't get to it today, but also talking about, how the people were armed and dangerous and yada, yada, yada. And out of those tens of thousands of people, they found 5 weapons, 5 firearms, and some other shit. But anyway, listen to this.
But there is over half of the Republicans in Congress voted to overturn the election. And there will be a continual political pressure on the companies to not take it seriously. So I think first you have to focus on those violent extremists, and those companies have to be brave.
Right, Stelter. Look, he must have just saw a jelly donut. Anyway.
That way. And second, we have to turn down the capability of these conservative influencers to reach these huge audiences. There are people on YouTube, for example, that have a larger audience than daytime CNN. And
yeah, there are a lot. That just sounds like look at Stelter. Stelter's really concerned about that because most of these people get more views than Stelter.
They are extremely radical and pushing extremely radical views. And so it's up to the Facebooks and YouTubes in particular to think about whether or not they want to be effectively cable networks for disinformation. And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem.
Now we should shut down other networks too. We should be shutting down everybody. Everybody that doesn't think like me.
These companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes.
Yes, let's play Oliver Darcy and see if we can get everyone deplatformed from, or at least, they should build their own platform, and they should build their own cable company if they want to be heard. I hated the fairness doctrine. I thought it was a stupid, unnecessary law, but my God, are we going to have to do that? Are we going to have to go back to the fucking fairness doctrine and force the CNNs to have some of those people on then, huh? See, they always talk about that as if, the fairness doctrine, that would take care of Fox News. Really? I bet it would take care of some of CNN's problems too, huh? ABC News, NBC, they would have to, anyway, I hate that idea.
This is, allowing people to seek out information if they really want to, but not pushing it into their faces. I think
but as long as there's no place to put it, you can have your network, but we're not going to have any place for you to put it. So good luck. I hope you find a place to put your network because, we should find a way to stop these conservatives. All right, a couple more quick ones and I got to go. I just had a good laugh at this one because it's Hillary Clinton and I like to laugh at Hillary Clinton. But there's some point I'm going to make about this next one that is very interesting because apparently it's not okay to question the results of an election, right? And I'm not saying that that's specifically what she's doing here, but I'm just going to tell you it is. So she tweeted yesterday, Speaker Pelosi and I agree. Congress needs to establish an investigative body like the 9/11 Commission to determine Trump's ties to Putin, so we can repair the damage to our national security and prevent a puppet from occupying the presidency ever again. Now, just listen to that, what I just read, and I want you to guess the date. Guess the date that she wrote this. Guess the date. Okay. Again, here's what she said. Congress needs to establish an investigative body like the 9/11 Commission to determine Trump's ties to Putin so we can repair the damage to our national security and prevent a puppet from occupying the presidency ever again. Okay, since I have the lag, I'm going to guess when she said it. Hello, Legit Low Talker. Nice to meet you. She said that January 18th, 2024 in the afternoon. This crazy woman is still talking about Putin. And I'm sorry. Granted, now here's my thought on this. Her using this, still talking about Putin, that means she still thinks her election was, can I even say this when I'm talking about her and not Trump, stolen? Is she still on that pill? Not that pill. No one would want any of that. But anyway, is she, seriously? And she said, I think, let's see, how long is this? Listen to this. Oh gosh, I don't want
We
that
learned
music
a
in
lot
there.
about our system of government
Listen to
over the
this.
last 4 years with a president who disdains democracy and
Really? Does he? Or does he just want it to be fair? Now, he may have been wrong or right about all the election stuff. There's a lot of evidence out there, but I'm not going to say he was wrong or right because I can get kicked off of YouTube for having an opinion on that even. But I don't think he's against democracy, even though we're a representative republic. I just think he thought it was unfair, and he thought he had evidence, and people were telling him he had evidence, and they may have had evidence, they may have had a ton of evidence, but you can't talk about the evidence because no one wants to see it, not even the courts wants to see the evidence, or the witnesses, or whatever, but I am going to stop talking about that and listen to the rest of this.
as you have said numerous times, has other agendas. What they all are, I don't think we yet know. I hope historically we will find out who he's beholden to, who pulls his strings. I would love to see his phone records to see whether...
Listen to this. This is the best part of this. This is the best part. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Listen to what she says here.
Strings. I would love to see his phone records to see whether he was talking to Putin the day that the insurgents invaded our capital.
What? What? So now we were just talking about the timeline, by the way. The timeline where during his speech, remember, some of the people had already gone. The first wave of those people went to the Capitol 45 minutes before his speech was even over. Or yeah, it was almost 45 minutes before his speech was even over. So during the events at the Capitol, that's the other thing. People were bitching about how they're making up stories about how the Trump family was watching it all on TV and dancing and laughing, which that was false. The footage they had was of before his speech, and they were just, excited to have this day out there, whatever. But think about it. She's asking if he was on the phone with Putin while this was happening. Are you fucking serious? First of all, the people got there before his speech was over. So he wasn't on the phone with Putin then. And then the breach was happening before anyone in that crowd could have gotten there. So there was already people there and that breach happened. And then more of the crowd showed up and probably didn't even know what was going on by the time they got there, except they saw some fighting in the front. Probably just figure it's just normal fucking protest crowd. But anyway, so she's thinking that perhaps here's in her mind. People already got to the White House. The breach happens. Trump has to go back to the White House. So the first person Trump would have had to call for this to go on while he's in the White House, she thinks that he was talking to Putin. Oh, she is so deranged.
Whether he was talking to Putin the day that who he's beholden to, who pulls his strings.
Oh my God.
I would love to see his phone records to see whether he was talking to Putin the day that the insurgents invaded our capital. But
my
we now
God.
know that not just him, but his enablers, his accomplices, his cult members have the same disregard for democracy. Do you think we need a 9/11 type commission
Oh my
to
God.
investigate and
Anyway, that's all. The rest is there. You can, I believe, in the list of tabs today. And then finally, I'm going to finish up with this. And there's a whole bunch of articles here. Let me give you what's left in here. Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush is now demanding to memorialize the people who were put to death, executed under the law. She wants to say their names. The 13 people were murdered by Trump's death row killing spree. Now, one of those people that was killed was the first one. In fact, the first person they killed, the federal prisoners that were on death row, and they went back to execute. Now, whether you're for or against death penalty is irrelevant. She wants to memorialize those 13 people, quote, murdered by Trump's death row. Do you know who the first person they killed was? Anybody know that? Well, I'm going to tell you who the first person they killed. His name was Daniel Lee. He was a white supremacist and convicted mass murderer who killed a family, including an 8-year-old girl, in an attempted robbery after torturing them and tossing their bodies into a swamp. She wants to memorialize Cori Bush, who's going to be the newest member of the squad, because she's one of those Justice Democrat, whatever congresswoman that got. She's from St. Louis. So she wants them to memorialize a white supremacist. Now, that kind of fits in with the theme today, right? Because wouldn't that be wouldn't that be a form of multiracial whiteness? Just saying. She wants to. Yes, the Trump killed the white supremacists who murdered and tortured children. Say his name. Way to go, Cori. All right, other articles that'll be here. Election lawsuits are still moving forward despite the silencing crusade. There are some of these election lawsuits that haven't been dismissed yet. They're still in the docket and could be going as far as the Supreme Court. We'll find out. Also in the articles today, just how the media's basically doing giving Kamala Harris a tongue bath already, and we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. It's embarrassing. Also, another article. Apparently, police investigate vandalized Bernie Sanders mural. Get this. So there's there's a mural of Bernie Sanders in Washington, D.C. And some people did a little bit of, what did they do here? Vandalizing. Where's the picture of the vandal? Is this, someone just did some, so it looks like someone tagged it for the most part. Here's the picture. Anyway, they're calling this, listen to this. There's the mural. They're calling it a hate crime, possibly a hate crime. Let's see. Because one of the artists who created the mural found a cartoon frog known as Pepe the Frog being painted over the senator's face on Saturday, according to the police report. No, this is not the defaced one. Thank you, Gunfox61, with the Streamlabs donation. It says, Democrats love pedos, murderers, rapists, and kid sniffers. Changed my mind. I mean, they got a pedo elected. I think the whole crowd's going wild for you there. Anyway, so someone put a Pepe frog over his face. According to police, the mural was defaced sometime between mid-December and mid-January. The artists who painted the mural are members of the radical artist activist group called the 411 Collective. The collective said on its Instagram page that the artist created the murals to lift up the Sanders movement. Well, you know what? So this mural is also graffiti. Probably not commissioned by any government. Anyway, and then couple articles that I had up ready to go. Far right Boogaloo leader boys says peace is coming to an end very quickly ahead of that armed protest. Yeah, this is another FTG, but this is some guys who are planning some shit on the right, the farthest right. I don't support this shit, but you can read about it in the Daily Caller. And then the final article that I did not get into today. When the left refuses service, they're preventing violence. When the right denies service, they're bigots. And this is an article by Kylie Zempai. I might actually go through this one tomorrow too, but I don't have time today because I am out of time. But so guys, before you do anything else, before you even think of clicking a button, click the like button on your way out. We got a little discrepancy between the number of people here, the number of likes, which is fine. I know that sometimes you like me and sometimes I'm annoying just like everybody else, but most of the time I think I'm okay, and I would appreciate if you'd like this show. And finally, but I know I got to go. Hit the like button, share the stream. I didn't actually do that. I know several of you have. In fact, let me do a couple quick thank yous here to people who have. Why are my notifications messed up here? Thank you, Willett Forge. Let's see. RVA Dar, Tyler F, Cynical Lindsay, Cindy Rochelle, and everyone else who shared the stream today. I really appreciate that. Hit the share arrow down there, share it out, and then also donation information is in the description down below. Thanks for everyone who donated today, which is a whole bunch. This is Kyle Gunfox61. I'm just going to call it Javanus Midehouse, but that's Cindy and Rich. Anyway, and Selected Boy, Rod Line, Nicholas Daly, and Gunfox a couple more times. Thank you so much for the donations. I really greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow to this week. Oh, programming note. I'm here Tuesday through Saturday this week because I was on a plane, or as I was driving through the mountains to get to my plane. By the way, oh my gosh. If you ever go to Breckenridge, Colorado, and have to get from Breckenridge to Denver, instead of taking 70, take Highway 285 and you run through the mountains, go to the Great Continental Divide. Beautiful drive. I'll have some footage of that on my other channel one of these days. But anyway, we did a lot of film and stuff while we were up there. Beautiful, beautiful drive. Oh, it's Hig. Okay. I thought that was what, because I know you both are there watching together. So anyway, thanks everybody. It is time for me to go. I was going to say one more thing and I forgot what it was. I don't know. One more thing. Poof, there it is. All right, guys, I got to go. Thank you again. My name is P. Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P. Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P. Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P. Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.